Hey, it's Stargirl.thepracticalwitch. Welcome to another one of my pick a card readings. Today we're going to find out how do people who date you or have dated you see you. This also includes casual relationships or just casual flirting back and forth. So before we get started, I need you to pick one of the four groups. The first group is an amethyst, the second group is a clear quartz, the third group is a rose quartz, and the fourth group is a obsidian. Once you've picked one of the four groups, you can fast forward to the timestamp I provide down below to see your results. I do ask that you pick with your intuition and your gut rather than your eyes. Alright, let's get started. Alright, group number one, let's see how people you date or have dated saw you or see you. So we have Justice, the Queen of Pentacles, the Knight of Swords, Tiger, Luna, Inspiration, and Venus, Love. So, if you picked this group, I'm feeling like people start dating you or talking to you because you seem a little bit out of their league, and that's really appealing, especially if you're giving them attention. Alright, group number one, let's see how people who date see you. Justice, Knight of Swords, Queen of Pentacles, Tiger, Luna, Inspiration, and Venus. So, I feel like at first people are really drawn to you and want to date you because you come off as a little out of their league. And I don't mean in a way where you're stuck up. I mean, maybe some people take it as stuck up, but there's something about you that makes other people you date feel like they're not good enough for you. And that's the feeling I get from Justice because, you know, she is sitting on a throne with purple on the background, and purple is royalty. So it almost makes me feel like people get a little intimidated by you because they're almost like, why are you talking to me? Why are you interested in me? And you know, this could be something about your looks or your social status or your success, something shallow. And I'm not saying that those things are shallow. It's just that when they first meet you and date you, they don't know you yet. So they're basing it off of those surface level things. So it's almost like, you know, when they date you, they think you're out of their league because of one of those things, like I said before. And they're not sure why you're showing them interest. So it intrigues them, like someone this awesome is giving them time of day. Someone they wouldn't think, someone they wouldn't think would give them interest because they're out of their league is giving them interest. And you may not see it like that, but I'm getting the feeling that a lot of people you have dated have saw it like that. They're like, why is this person dating me? And they're questioning it. Or if there's someone who's confident, they'd be like, or someone who's established and confident, they'd actually, you know, really respect you. I don't know. It has something to do with one of those surface level things that make people feel like you were too good. Or out of their league. So, you know, with Justice, this talks about symmetry, so it might mean you have a symmetrical face and you're really pretty. It might mean you're popular because Justice people tend to be popular due to the fact that they're really easygoing and they can connect with anybody. It's an air card, so air cards are very charismatic. They're very good communicators. This could be your reputation. You have a really good reputation. It's something surface level that makes you seem like, you know, you're a little out of their league, pretty much everyone you've dated. And you know, it's human nature to think when someone really cool likes us or dates us, why are they dating us? Because they're so cool. And I feel like, you know, a lot of the people you've dated have felt like that about you. Now we also have the Knight of Swords, and in general, as you notice, Justice is holding a sword. This is an air card. So you have another air card, the Knight of Swords. And it almost seems like to me, you don't come off as overly cuddly and emotional and clingy. And that's very rare, or at least, you know, for me in my experience, that's very rare nowadays. You come off as like a really cool person. And that's another thing that's really attractive about you. And why people date you is because they connect with you on an intellectual level, as we're getting from the swords. You're someone who's very good at talking. You can hold a conversation. You're actually a really cool person. It's not just about your appearance, it's about your mind and your personality. There's something about you that's just like, wow, I would hang out with this person even if I didn't date them. And I think that's why a lot of the relationships you've been in have happened, or why people want to date you. But it's not that you're cold, even though swords aren't cold, warm and cuddly cards. It's not that you're really cold. It's just that you're really stable when it comes to emotions. And that's how they perceive you. You're very stable. You're very cool about things. I mean, everyone gets mad. Everyone gets a little jealous. And everyone feels emotions. It's a human thing. But you're very much in control of yours. And very mature about it. And then with the Queen of Pentacles, this shows that they don't feel like you're cold. Really, it depends. You know, a clingy person might think you're cold, but, you know, someone who's mature doesn't think you're cold, because with the Queen of Pentacles, we can see that you're very nurturing. And if you care about someone, you take care of them. You're very dependable too. Like, the people you've dated probably knew that when you were in a relationship with them, you would be there if they needed you. If they needed a favor, you would do it. If they needed taken care of, you would take care of them. You're very caring and nurturing. It's not like you're cold in a sense where, you know, you don't care about people. It's just that your emotions are under wrap, but you thoroughly care about people, and you show people you care about them, especially in relationships. And to someone immature, if you pick this card, they might see you as cold, but you're definitely not. You're someone who's, you know, looking for a real mature relationship. And I feel like, you know, some people in this world just cannot handle that they cannot handle that maturity. They can't handle the fact that you're independent and have other things going on. And it's not all about them. Some people are like that, but to someone who's also independent, also is really stable, you're the perfect person for them. With Tiger, passion and adventure beckon. You are someone who is always doing something. You're not lazy at all. You're always looking. I mean, maybe you don't like going out per se. This is a general reading, but you might have different interests with the Knight of Swords and Tiger, where you're always interested in new things. You always have new things to say. You always have new hobbies. You have a life outside of the relationship, and that's just really attractive. How, you know, and that's probably why people wanted to date you in the first place. It's clear you have a drive and passion outside of the relationship, and you have things you want to do outside of that, and you have your own interests. And with Tiger, adventure, beckon, you know, tigers are attractive. And you know, I almost feel like tigers are, not only are they cats, feline, which is attractive, but they're go-getters. And I feel like, you know, to someone who isn't a go-getter yourself, when they date you, it's really intimidating. You're a powerful person. You're an accomplished person. You have really big goals with the Tiger and the Knight of Swords. And for someone who's not like that, it's really hard to keep up with. Both Tigers and the Knight of Swords are fast. So I feel like you're a fast-moving person. You're always on to the next thing. You're always wanting to do things, have an adventure. You're someone who is just really fun to be around, and, you know, doesn't get overly emotional. If you pick this card, you know, well, let me get into the rest of the spread before I make generalizations. So we also have inspiration. So I feel like there's something very inspiring about you. As you can see, we have Luna and Venus, which are posing in the same direction. Their profile, they're posing like models. They're almost having the same pose. So to me, there is a feminine energy about you, and you don't have to be, you know, a girl to have feminine energy. And if you're a guy and have feminine energy, that's not bad at all. Luna represents the feminine. The sun represents the masculine, right? The feminine is softer, it's gentle, it influences gently. And I feel like there's something very sensitive and soft about you, and something that's really ethereal about you. And see, I feel like a lot of people take, you know, being feminine as being emotional, but that's not the case at all. As we saw here, you're in control of your emotionals, wow, your emotions. What I mean by that is with Luna, you're feminine in the sense where you're really caring and understanding and a really good listener. And the fact that your energy isn't overpowering, you don't try to overpower, you're very a chill energy. You know, match your energy to whoever is in the room with you. You don't try to overpower anyone. You don't have to make big gestures to get people's attention. You almost just make people gravitate towards you with your energy, not because you're being outright or aggressive at all. And, you know, that is extremely attractive. And with Venus in Love, I feel like, you know, in the other cards, I felt like there was some negative because, you know, this is also talking about people you have dated, and people are exes for a reason. You don't talk to some people for a reason. But with this, it seems very positive, and I feel like it's because, you know, maybe you were the one to leave because they got too clingy, or maybe you were the one to leave because they couldn't keep up with you. I almost feel like you're a little bit of a heartbreaker in a sense where you don't mean to hurt hearts, but you're very independent and you know what you want. And it's very hard to find someone who's on that same par as you. So I feel like a lot of your exes are fantasizing like, oh, she was the one, he was the one that got away. But in reality, people just want what escapes them. They want what they can't have. And I feel like you're one of those people, and if you do settle down, it'll be someone as great as you who can keep up with you. And I feel like it won't be later to life that you settle down, just because I feel like you have a lot of admirers and a lot of people want to date you because of this manner you have. It's very sensual, it's feminine, it's put together, it's in control, it's independent, yet very in tune with others. So that's how I really feel like people who've dated you or date you really see you and feel about you. And I know that was really in depth, but you know, people really do think about these things in depth. I know a lot of people say that they don't, but they do. Like, people meet you the first date or they talk to you for a few days, and I guarantee you that, you know, they're thinking about it way more than they let on. All right. So group number 2, let's see how people you date or have dated see you. So we have the 7 of Cups, the Hermit, the 2 of Swords, Scorpion, Taurus, Confidence, and the 11th house of Friends. So, okay. At first, I feel like people date you because you're really cool. You're somebody that can talk about anything. You're somebody who can hold a conversation with anyone on any subject, and you're really easygoing, and you're really intelligent because the 2 of Swords represents intelligence, and the balance of 2 swords represents someone who's very easygoing, and it's very easy for them to get along with others, and there's someone who doesn't really try to antagonize or rock the boat. You really could fit in with anyone, have a conversation with anyone. You're really relatable, you're down to earth. You're someone that at first people who date you want to date you because they have a real mental connection with you and you vibe with them really well, and your vibes don't really clash with anyone because you have this very pleasing aura or personality to be around. However, and another thing is confidence. So with the Hermit and the 2 of Swords, the Hermit normally speaks as someone who is very wise. They are someone who likes to read. They're someone who likes to write. They're someone who's very scholarly. They're someone who's very intelligent. There is a old soul about them. There is a wisdom to them. They're not acting stupid, you know. They're very collected and cool and put together and mature and intelligent. And that is really attractive. For those who aren't intimidated, of course, by intelligence. So I feel like you just ooze intelligence, like you know a lot about everything. And it's not in a way like you're rubbing it in people's face, like, I just read this book and that book and listen to how intelligent I am. It's more like you just are. So, and the way you talk shows that. We also have confidence. So I feel like you have a lot of self-respect for yourself, and that's really attractive when people have self-respect for themselves. And you ooze this confidence because I see you have a stable head on your shoulders. Maybe not, some of you maybe not, but you know your stuff. You are probably confident because you are intelligent, you are a older soul, or you come off as an older soul. Maybe you've been through a lot. You're someone who's really put together. You just ooze confidence. You don't seem insecure. You know how like some people, when you start dating them or talking to them, you can tell that they're a little insecure, and it's not really what they're saying. It's almost their persona and the way they act. You do not do that. Your persona and the way you act is very like, your hand is steady. You're someone who's confident in themselves and acts confident in themselves. You have a no nonsense way about you. You're someone people can tell that if they were to treat you wrong, you wouldn't stand for it. You know what you deserve, and you're very forthright about it, but not in a way, like I said, where you have to overstate it. You just are. You're someone who is very put together and comes off as put together. So with the Seven of Cups, this really tells me that once people start to date you, or when people start to get past the initial get to know you phase, like that's the really good part. You might have a tendency, because you are so selective about who you really let into your heart. You're very selective about who you let yourself be vulnerable towards, because you are very picky. You are very, careful. So when you do, and someone lets you down, even before someone lets you down, with the Seven of Cups, I can see that you get really idealistic about someone, especially once you let them in that initial stage where you seem really cool, collected, independent, smart. When you really start to get attached to someone or talk to someone a lot, you really start to put them on a pedestal. And I feel like the people who have dated you really feel like you have these high expectations of them that they can't meet. Now keep in mind, this is a reading for people who have dated you and currently date you. So this does include your exes, and this includes, some of the things your exes felt and still feel about you when they look back on dating you. Keep in mind, no one is all good, no one is all bad, so there is going to be some negative in a reading. However, if it doesn't resonate with you, that is more than fine. It is a general reading. I just want to put that disclaimer out there because, I think I want to make people happy a lot, so I have a tendency to not say the bad, but I feel like it is my duty to, as a tarot reader, to say the good and bad. So I feel like past the initial cool, you're someone anyone can be friends with phase. That's why people are initially attracted to you, your intelligence, your conversational skills, the fact that you're really chill, the fact that you have this confident air. Once they get past that, there's someone who really wants stability and love and commitment, and you have these high ideals, and you have this idea in your mind of what you want out of someone. And if you talk to someone for an extended period of time and they get past this cool persona, they start to see that, but it's a little bit of a shock to them. I feel like people who date you get shocked when they start to see, the Scorpio and Taurus side. So, they start to see the fact that maybe you get a little possessive, maybe you get a little bit jealous as with a Scorpio. But, sometimes it doesn't come off as direct as that. I almost feel like you may have a tendency to be very sideways about it. Maybe it's a weird way you message them or the weird vibe you send off. I don't feel like you're someone I feel like you're someone who has a lot of pride, so I don't think you're someone to outright say it unless it was a really serious relationship, but you'll almost be very passive aggressive if you feel like someone is not living up to your high ideals. And I feel like a lot of the people you've dated feel that way. At the same time, they find you to be very warm and comfortable. There's someone they love to Netflix and chill with you. They love to eat with you. They love to drink wine with you on the couch. You're someone who isn't boring when you stay at home. It's more fun when they stay at home with you and hang out, because they just can appreciate you, and that's how powerful your essence is. And I feel like people who date you really feel that way. You're someone who they don't have to go out with all the time, because your personality and your conversational skills and who you are is so magnetic and entertaining that they're fine, like with the Taurus, staying home with you and eating some food with you. I feel like you're someone who can be very good in social situations, but at the same time you're very introverted, so you like to spend time alone to recharge, and you like to spend time alone with people you date. It doesn't mean you're bad with people, it just means that you can be good with people, but you'd rather have that intimate setting, and that's very apparent. And you're someone, once you're committed. So you can have this aloof, cool friends attitude, but if you're investing in someone, they better show you the same, ideals that you hold for yourself they better show you the same like high ideals you hold for yourself with them back. And, for people who aren't ready for that commitment, for people who aren't ready for the no-nonsense games, that might make them go away. But for those who are really into commitment and not playing games, I feel like this is really good. However, I also see you as being one of those people where you might have dated someone that was really into commitment like you wanted. However, they did not they started to get too clingy, because you're also there's this weird oxymoron about you. If they feel clingy, or if they're seeming like they are desperate for your attention, or you don't respect them, then all of a sudden you pull back and you're not about it. So it's very weird. You almost want someone you respect to show you the right amount of commitment, otherwise you don't want it. So you're someone who really needs someone who's very compatible, like almost a soulmate relationship where it's not going to work, because like I said, you have that oxymoron. But you're also someone who I'm seeing people have dated wanted to really be friends with you. Like, you're a really cool person, they wanted to be friends with you, but unfortunately, because you're the type of person, if you hurt me and you don't treat me right, bye, that's it. So, I mean, maybe this is a general reading, maybe, but it would definitely take you a while to forgive. So, all right, I'm gonna move on from that. Alright, group number 3, the rose quartz. Let's see how people who date you or have dated you see you. So we have the 10 of Cups, the Ace of Cups, the 9 of Swords, Cobra, Scorpio, New Beginnings, and Mercury retrograde, which I believe we just got out of. So people date you at first, as I'm seeing from, and if you I didn't do this on purpose, but now that I'm really looking at the cards, it almost seems like I did, but I promise you I never match up cards on purpose. I actually shuffle randomly, looking at each stone, and whatever comes out, comes out. But it's very interesting, the rose quartz got, these cards, and I'll tell you why, because the rose quartz is a stone of love, and it's a soft color, it's a soft, sweet color, it's a love stone, and you got Ace of Cups, the 10 of Cups, and this to me tells me that people like to date you, or talk to you because you're very open about the way you feel. You don't really have any games or a hidden agenda or, past hurt in your eyes or, like, I'm gonna play a game with this person so I can fulfill some sick emotional void in me. You don't give off that vibe at all. You give off a very, genuine vibe, and that's very rare nowadays. You just give off like, I'll love you unconditionally. You are so amazing. You're very positive. You're not afraid of hiding how you feel about someone or telling them how awesome they are. You're always there for them. You just radiate real unconditional love. And for someone who was talking to you or wants to date you, that's really appealing. The fact that they feel like they can trust you. You don't have a sinister motive. You just seem like someone who's really good. Like you just seem like you have a really, really good soul. And it's very infectious and it's very healing being around you. Like everyone else, a lot of people nowadays, when you're around them, you almost feel drained. You feel like they want something out of you, but people who date you genuinely don't get that feeling from you. They get the feeling that you're a good person and you care about them, and that's really, really attractive. However, hold on. I want to cover this Scorpio. You're also probably, Scorpio to me is like sexy. It's a little mysterious. It's sensual. Everyone knows that Scorpios are very sensual, and I'm not saying that you are a Scorpio by looking at this card. I'm just looking at the feeling of the card to portray a message of how your exes or people you've dated or date feel about you or see you. They see you as very sensual. They see you as, there's something about you that, because it's easy sometimes when we have people like this to not be attracted to them. That's why we have like friend zone or whatever. And that's sad, but for some reason that's the reality we live in. That's just the honest truth. But there's something about you that's really sensual that takes it out of the friend zone and makes people want to date you romantically. Now, I don't know if this is like you have this cute, sexy look routine, or, you're really attractive, or you have this air about you, or you have sensual lips, sensual hair. There's something sensual about you, a very sensual characteristic that takes you out of that friend zone, or like that, oh, she or he is so cute, and oh, they're really sweet, into the sexual side of it where they do want to date you. I think it's because you're always reinventing yourself. Now, we have a lot of water in this. I wouldn't be surprised if your Venus and Mars is a water sign, or your sun, moon, or rising is a water sign, which is, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, especially that Scorpio. But then we do have some communication, which is the Nine of Swords and Mercury. So I think that's Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. So anyway, there's something really sensual about you that makes people take it out of the friend zone. And I think it's because you're always trying to you try. And you know what, there's nothing wrong with trying. I try. I mean, I have my nails done. Obviously, I try. I care. You really try to look pretty. And it's not like you have to try, but you put in that effort, and the effort is sexy. We can see from the Ten of Cups in Scorpio and the new beginnings, and the Cobra, change is inevitable. The Cobra sheds their skin. They're always improving themselves. Then we have Mercury, retrograde, reinvention. You're always trying to do something to update your look. You take appearance in your looks. You're someone who likes to exercise. You're someone who likes to do things to improve themselves, the way they look. Just in general, you never let yourself go. You always want to make an effort to change and to make yourself prettier, sexier, handsomer, whatever. You always try to make an effort to look and be the best person you can be. So, it's really no surprise to me there's something about you people are drawn to, which gets you out of that, aw, what a sweetie zone. And with the Nine of Swords and the Mercury retrograde, so this is funny. So Nine of Swords is like heartbreak, bad communication, and Mercury retrograde is bad communication. So I feel like people who date you feel like you are really bad at communicating your feelings. So you have all these feelings, as we see with the cups, but you're really, really bad about saying what it is you're feeling or explaining your feelings, and it leaves the other person feeling very confused, and you maybe take what they say wrong. I'm also feeling that as well. They'll say something and they don't mean it to be hurtful, but you internalize it because you're full of these emotions. These cups are emotions, and you really internalize it and make little things into big things. That's what I'm picking up that, you know, people who have dated you feel. Now, keep in mind, this includes your ex, and exes are exes for a reason, so they are going to think some negative things. But, you know, nobody is all good, nobody is all bad. Everybody has good points, everyone has bad points. You know, of course, if this doesn't resonate with you, that's more than fine. This is a general reading. However, you know, it's good to recognize these things in ourselves so we can work on them and be better in relationships. So it's almost like you might have a tendency, people who date you think, to be a little too sensitive to the words they say, take it the wrong way. And then you're not good at communicating your feelings. You might have a tendency to blow up. I'm also seeing that, you know, people who date you see or feel that when they, you know, say something that you think is insensitive, or, you know, if something goes wrong in the relationship, you have a tendency, if it's not going perfect, to run away. As we can see from the Cobra, change, and then reinvention and new beginnings, change. So to me, it's like, you know, people who date you feel like you're in it for the long haul. You're all about them. You're really into them. You really care about them. But then when it comes to problems or issues, if it's not going exactly how you want, they see you as having a tendency to leave and just going bye, or, you know, just giving up on it. So, you know, your exes might think that you're not really in it for the long haul. You're not really in it because they see you as someone to just run away when things go wrong. However, I think that you might have done somebody you've dated wrong with the Cobra, because the snake is not always good. So it almost feels like to me that people who date you or you have dated find you to be very tempting at first, very sensual, very sweet. They, you know, and then when they are with you, they get hit with all of these issues, or so they think. And they might perceive you as bad, but really you're not coming from a place of bad. You have a really good soul. It's just that your communication and the way you communicate might have some issues. And yeah, that's all I'm getting for this group right here. Group number 4, let's see how people you have dated or are dating see you. So we have the 8 of Swords, we have the 3 of Cups, the 7 of Wands, Sagittarius, Butterfly, Fertility, and the 3rd house. Okay, so originally when people start talking to you, or people are interested in you, or you show interest in them, they feel like you're really physically attractive. And the reason why I feel like that is because of fertility, and attractiveness really relates to fertility. Things that people find attractive are marks of fertility. For instance, you know, some people find really thick hair attractive, and that is actually a mark of fertility. Some people find, you know, clear skin attractive. That's a mark of fertility. It's really anything that people find attractive in, well, not anything, but a lot of things people find physically attractive are normally fertility clues, or clues that you have good health, you know? So that's why I feel like there's something about you physically that's really attractive. And, you know, to some people you date, or the people that you date, it almost seems like they think that you're attractive and you're flaunting it and you're very aware of it. Now, there's nothing wrong with this, but some people may be intimidated by this. Like, they know they're attractive, they're very forthright about it, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. But, a lot of people nowadays are intimidated very easily, especially when someone knows they're attractive, or especially when someone really puts themselves out there like that and highlights their attractiveness. And what I mean by that is people who date you or try to talk to you, or people who have dated you, they almost see you as someone who's too aware of their assets. And I don't mean this in a negative way. Please do not get offended. And of course, if it doesn't resonate with you, it doesn't resonate with you. However, as a tarot reader, I feel like it's my job to say the good and bad, because, no one is all good, no one is all bad. And if someone is your ex or people you no longer talk to, obviously they're going to see some negative traits about you. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It just means that's the impression you give off. And honestly, this is my card pile because I'm a Sagittarius and, I relate to this a lot. So don't think I'm hating on you. If I'm hating on you, I'm hating on myself. So pretty much with the Three of Cups, I can see that, people who date you or try to date you see you as very popular and probably really wanted by the opposite sex or other people. And, you're also a little bit provocative, flirtatious. You come off to people who want to date you as very playful, but at the same time, non-committed. You also come off as someone who everyone wants to be with, or you come off as somebody who would act the same way or flirt with anyone else. And that might not be the case, but that's how you come off, because there's something about your appearance, whether you can help it or not, because a lot of the times we can't help our appearance. It's just how we are. We can't help it if we were born beautiful, or if we do dress nice and attractive, it's for ourselves. We don't freaking care what anyone else thinks. But there's something about the way you dress or your physical appearance or just the way, your persona, that really makes people who try to talk to you or date you feel like you're a little too aware of how attractive you are, and you're a little too aware of your charms, and that scares people. Like, they don't trust you. They're almost too intimidated by you and your looks and the fact that you're aware of it. And honestly, you may not even be aware of it. You might not even be aware of what you're doing. It's just what's coming off to the people you date. You just come off as like this heartbreaker, flirt, this I know I'm attractive, but you might not even mean to be doing that. A lot of the time we act a certain way and people take it another way, and we don't even mean to come off that way. And that's kind of what I'm seeing with you. And it's really intimidating because I think that people you start to date or have dated find you as a little bit of a flirt, and you don't mean to flirt. It's just your personality, and they see you as somebody who they can't trust, and it might be due part to their insecurity over the fact that you are very physically attractive. You're someone people like to turn their heads at. You're someone that is very sexy, whether you mean to be or not, and people, turn to look, and you're very friendly, and you almost don't realize what's going on. So they find you untrustworthy, and that's not fair. That is not fair, but not everyone is woke, not everyone is intuitive. So this happens, especially with people you date. They just see you as someone who wants a bunch of attention and doesn't know how to say no to attention, when really, I'm really just seeing someone who isn't aware of the way they look, and someone who's just very, very friendly, and they're not really aware of other people's intentions. That's really what I'm seeing right here. And however, I will say that this is both a blessing and a curse for you, because the people you date almost feel like you're too attractive. And I hate saying that, because I know from the beginning I did pick a cards, and from now I'm so hesitant to say things because I want you all to know it's a general reading, but I really do intuitive messages, and I don't just look at the literal card meanings. I feel things when I'm doing these things. Like, I feel certain feelings when I'm reading the cards. It's not just about the cards. It's like, I see things in my mind's eye, I feel things, and I'm really just feeling like you are someone who unintentionally or intentionally really oozes sex appeal, and it comes off as you are just this giant flirt, this heartbreaker. It comes off as, you are careless. It comes off as you don't care where attention comes from, but that's really not the case at all. I think it really comes from, as I'm seeing with the Five of Wands, a place of, you're afraid to get close to people, because as we see with the Five of Wands, he's blocking up, he's holding something against his chest, the Seven of Wands, he's holding something against his chest, he's holding something up, he's really trying to block you from getting close. And I almost feel like with you, it's a defense mechanism, so people don't get close enough to hurt you, because I feel like you're a really caring person. You're just, I don't know, I feel like there's something about you in relationships that really makes people feel like they can't trust you or can't get close to you. But I think it's a defense mechanism. I think you have like this defense mechanism about you, and I don't know where it's from. It could be from a past life, it could be your childhood, it could be past relationships, I don't know, but it's almost used as a defense mechanism, so no one can hurt you, and you're keeping at a distance and you're in control. And that's hard to recognize, if you're not if you haven't done much self-diving, you know what I'm trying to say? So just hear me out. If it doesn't resonate, maybe it's something you can think about. Maybe the reason why you're unintentionally putting this out there or giving off these vixen vibes is because you don't want to get hurt. You want to put on this persona. You want to seem strong and sexy, but you don't want to seem vulnerable. You want to seem like you're in control, you're on top, but really you're like blocking, real connections. And this could come from anything. I mean, all of us are scared of getting hurt, but who knows? And I think that with the Sagittarius, you come off as someone who's not just a bimbo. Like, I know I said there's something really attractive about you, people find intimidating. I think it's also, your mind, the fact that you have a mind and you're an intelligent person and you have this, sex appeal that people want to date and get to know you, but they're so, I feel like out of all the cards, this is the most intimidating of it, because you have the looks, you have the brain, you have the knowledge, you have the friendliness, the charisma, but there's something about you people just don't trust. And I don't know how to explain it in the correct way, but it's almost like there's something about you people don't trust because you are just so oblivious maybe of your own power. Oblivious of your own power. That's exactly what I was looking for. And with the Eight of Swords, this really, you know what? It's weird because when I get messages from Spirit, I'll be trying to like describe what I'm saying, and then Spirit will come with this huge revelation and it'll all just fall together and it'll feel like this feeling in my chest. It's crazy. But you see how in the Eight of Swords she's blindfolded and bound? I don't feel like she knows her power. She doesn't know there's all these swords around her. She doesn't know there's all these weapons around her she could use. Everyone else sees it, but she doesn't see it. She is oblivious. She just thinks she's powerless. She doesn't see that she could, finesse getting out of this. She doesn't see these weapons around her, these guards around her. All she sees is black and she's held back. And that's kind of the feeling I'm getting from you and how people who date you see you. You just really don't know your power. You don't know the intense vibes you give off. It's not intense as in like a bad way, just like it's almost like you have this intelligent mind and you have this sexuality, this sensuality. You have a lot of intimidating things about you that really you don't see it as hurtful. You don't see it as a defense mechanism. You don't see how it comes off. You don't see how intimidating it is or why people wouldn't trust you. You just don't see it, and you're oblivious to it. And, you know, I think people find it very hard to get close to you, and people who have dated you and still date you find it very hard to get close to you and be open with you and be vulnerable with you because they're scared. They're scared because you're, you know, holding that arrow and you're powerful and you don't even know your power. I hope I explained that correctly, but this group was very weird to me. It had a different energy about it than the other groups, a harder energy to explain. And, you know, with a butterfly, I'm getting the feeling like, you know, you're hard to catch, you're very beautiful, but when you try to get near it, it flies away, you're hard to catch. And not necessarily because you mean to be that way, but because you're running, you're putting up walls, you're beautiful and don't know it, you're smart, you don't know it, you're putting up walls and don't know it. That's the whole general message that I'm getting. Especially that you're smart and don't know it, so maybe you try to rely too heavily on the way you look. But then again, this is a general reading, so maybe not. I really hoped you guys enjoyed your pick a card reading. I had so much fun doing this, like I always do, and thank you so much for joining me. I will see you guys later. Bye.